Hello, good morning to you. It's Fred with Utah Realty Advisors. Thanks for taking the time to walk through this video, and I hope you find the information useful. This is a continuation of our series, The Drive to 850, based on a book by Al Bingham of the same name, The Drive to 850, which is available to you on Amazon. And again, I strongly suggest you go get yourself a copy of that book. In the previous segment, we talked about the FICO score, which is the Fair Isaacs Company, and that was a publicly traded for-profit company. Rather than go into details about that, I just went to Wikipedia and looked up the information on Wikipedia about FICO, and it's very easy to find, and I would suggest strongly that you take a minute and go look at that information. What I wanted to talk to you about today was the individual parts of a credit report, your actual credit report. So the first, obviously, is personal information, your current address, history of address and residences, birth date, spelling, name deviations where you might have a different spelling of a name or somebody might have reported it differently. That's actually an area where you can get some confusion on your credit score. And so want to pay attention to that and make sure that's correct. Might have your social security number in the personal information as well. Then the actual credit scores as reported by the three major credit reporting agencies. And so we discussed that a little bit, and we'll go into detail in a future segment. Public records. Public records are court records, specifically most common court records, but they could be any information obtainable through the public phone books, phone records, on the internet, any other searchable databases. Then they keep track of inquiries and the number of inquiries on your credit report. Now we'll have a specific segment on inquiries. It is a common understanding that if you have multiple inquiries into your credit, that's a derogatory on your credit. And there are some situations where that is correct, and that'll be an individual segment all by itself. We have credit summary, which is just a narrative of what the findings are in that report that is provided to your creditors. You have the credit bureaus, which goes into detail about who the credit bureaus are. Again, the big three. Then you have the FACT Act, which they are required to disclose some information to you, and it reviews your rights as a consumer, and that should be provided to you with the credit report. Then we have the accounts, the specific accounts that they used, and the history of those specific accounts. That would be your individual bank, your individual mortgage lender, car loan, those sorts of things. And then it gives you a history of the open accounts that you have and your closed accounts, and the reason for the close obviously becomes important. If it was closed at the creditor's request for delinquency, that's not such a good thing. But interestingly enough, if you voluntarily close the account, then that also can be a negative, and we'll go into that segment in detail as well. Then you have satisfactory accounts, which is the ones that were reported to be in good shape, and then of course derogatory accounts, those that are obviously negative, closed for failure to pay or whatever reason. Now, in the first or previous segment, we alluded to the fact that the three reporting agencies, the three most common reporting agencies, use different criteria. So one of those criteria, and again, I think we'll make this an expanded segment, but one of those criteria is inquiries. TransUnion may report the number of inquiries to your credit differently than Equifax or Experian. And so they each have their own individual criteria for what they report and what they consider to be a derogatory thing or not a derogatory thing. The same thing with the way an account is closed. And so if an account's closed because you chose not to use the credit, one company may choose to see that as a negative and another may choose to see that as a positive. And this is, again, some pretty interesting and detailed information. And again, I think it's important that you learn this process and understand this information so that you can help yourself with your credit report. Well, there you are. That's the segment for today, which is basically a review of the criteria contained in a credit report. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to post or give me a call. And thank you again for all the introductions to those folks you care about. I appreciate the trust you place in me in real estate and look forward to talking to you in the future. Thanks so much.